See how he does that? That's how he gets those outtakes, because he's been recording the whole time.
You
Because it's
brought up a
red
good
now.
point. I would have totally been confused by that because that appears that it's not recording.
You would think if you were recording, the button would be green.
Well, but I remember the on-air
kind of
signs.
joking, but
On-air signs.
You know how it was
air.
always red.
It's red.
Yeah.
This is Worth the Journey, a Worthington Schools podcast. I am your host, Angie Adrian, and I get to serve Worthington Schools as the Assistant Superintendent of Academics.
And I'm Jeff Maddox, the Assistant Superintendent of Operations and HR. Together, we are your hosts, and we're thrilled to have you join us.
In Worthington Schools, we serve about 11,000 students and 1,400 dedicated staff members. Our pride really lies in the strong relationships that we build with each other, which in turn creates this vibrant and supportive culture.
Culture in Worthington Schools is about shared values, traditions, and the diverse perspectives that define our community. It's the foundation that makes working together not only productive, but also enjoyable.
Our mission in Worthington Schools is to empower a community of learners who will change the world. And through this podcast, we have the privilege of sharing the stories of those who are already changing the world.
Join us as we highlight the incredible journeys and contributions.
They would know, here it comes. They don't have to shovel because here comes Jeff or here comes Angie.
Exactly right.
I mean, if you're going to do one driveway, you might as well do 20 of them, right?
I think our guest is going to have different
I think he does
feelings
too.
and thoughts about snow.
I mean, look at his face right now. He's
Yeah.
already
He
like
cringes.
cringing.
Yeah.
Again, anybody that says snow removal is fun hasn't had to do it for a job, so or their paycheck hasn't been tied to it.
All right. Well, let's introduce our guest to our audience today. Jeff, do you want to do that for us?
Absolutely. Let's welcome head grounds, Rusty Waring, proud graduate of the Worthington Schools. And Rusty, Angie would agree with this as well. And Corey, on behalf of the district, thank you for what you do. Because there's a lot of jobs in our school district that you just don't ever really take the time to thank. There are really hardworking people behind jobs and products. And I think you guys over the last 4 or 5 years really have done a nice job with our grounds. So we appreciate you.
Well, I appreciate you saying that. One of the things that I use as an example is I have one guy that paints all the white lines. Every white line you see down on the ground, there's one person that does it. So just little things that we do that some people don't know that we do.
So why don't you jump in and share your professional journey with us and a little bit about yourself. Talk with us about your family.
I've been married to my wife since 2002. I have an 18-year-old son who's a senior at Olentangy Orange. His name's Simon. I have twin daughters who are 16 and who are juniors, Morgan and Mackenzie at Olentangy Orange. So I love them to death, but they're a whole lot of running around and everyone's in different activities. And yeah, they're great.
Enjoy every second of that because all of a sudden you go from 100 miles an hour to 0, right? It stops. So enjoy every second of that.
I'd like to say I'm looking forward to it. And everybody I've talked to said after their kids leave, you look forward to it for a little bit and then it gets to be, like you said, it gets to be silent. So started here at Worthington Middle School in 8th grade.
Go Wildcats.
Yes, came from Lima, Shawnee. And Paul Sincar was my principal at the time. Went through Worthington Schools, graduated in 1994, played football, wrestling. After school, got accepted to Ohio State, went down, did orientation, and that day decided not to go to Ohio State. And I remember driving to Columbus State to sign up to Columbus State. It was too big, too overwhelming. Had a bunch of friends going there. I thought I wanted to, but it just wasn't something that I wanted to do at the time. So I moved down on campus and went to Columbus State for 2 years and kind of lived the campus life. Kind of started going down a road I didn't want to go down. Moved back home with my parents and got into coaching. Paul Sincar, I was really good friends with his daughter. And he had mentioned something that they were looking for a assistant wrestling coach for 7th and 8th grade, and then kind of started doing that. Working as a wrestling coach, 97, 98, and then from there, I was the weight room monitor, study hall monitor at Thomas, and then I was doing grounds maintenance as seasonal for a year, and then I started coaching football. I was the offensive line coach with Tom Blake. He was the head coach at the time, Terry Lichtenberg, Tom Carnes.
It's a great staff.
Yeah, going back a ways. And then during that time, I kind of did that for 2 years. My winter break of 2000, my boss called me and said, "Hey, we got an opening. You want to come back and work?" Started working here. I was hired January 2nd of 2001 and started working as a grounds maintenance employee.
It sounds like you really had to persevere through some things, right? Lots of changes. And I don't know if you feel this way or not, but we're glad you ended up where you are. Because you lead a great group of people as the head of grounds for Worthington Schools. Tell us a little bit about your team.
I have a team of 12 guys, a mix of people who've been here for 36 years, 20 some years. Like I have a group of those guys, and then we've had some turnover the last, several years. So I have some younger people on the staffs. Everybody's got their own way of doing things and their own backgrounds and things. So kind of keeping everybody together. We work so well as a team. That's the reason why I like coming to work, because
that makes a difference.
We've always seen ourselves as, hey, we're the grounds department. If you need anything done, call us. No matter what it is, we'll get it done. Nobody screams, yells, hollers, and it's just our focus is to get the work done.
The Thomas Worthington High School Fieldhouse was
a
positive for you, right?
That was out of all the things that I've been involved with here, that was kind of like one of the things that I kind of took on personally, because, and I don't take a lot of things personal around here, but that was one of those things that they wanted a finished product for that Worthington showdown. Tim came to me and he's like, "Hey, they want to replace fence. Well, I have a fencing contract. They want to do this. I have so my contractors were doing a lot of that work. So I felt that if it didn't get done and we didn't have that finished product to show the community, that it fell on me. It was a very difficult 30 to 60 days. And then, it was hot and we had to sod that hill.
Yes.
And
that sod was unbelievable though.
Everybody
got a lot of that done in a very short period of time.
It was a lot in a very short, stressful time.
But it turned out great.
Yes.
And let's be honest, as two individuals who spent a little time in the old field house, that is a major improvement.
I was the last person to walk through that field house. So I went down with Dan, the Russilli rep. They were screwing doors shut to make sure nobody was in there. I was the last person to walk out of that field house before they started knocking it down. It was a little sad for me. So
talk with our listeners about everything the grounds. You guys do a lot. Please understand, this is your opportunity to share with everybody everything you guys do.
So we do a lot on the athletic side. We support games, we support coaches, move goals, set up fields, paint lines, kind of anything a coach needs or the athletic directors need. They'll email me and say, "Hey, we need this." We do a lot for the athletics. Mowing, that's our big thing. We have 400 and some acres of grass to mow. And when we're busy, we're busy. We try to have a 5-day mowing schedule. From when I first started to the last 5 years, we've kind of evolved into, we really didn't do much for appearances because of the, different kind of superintendents who came in had different ways of doing things. And, now we understand that, we want to have our buildings looking good for the public. So we've kind of evolved in some of the things that we've done to be more detail oriented for beds and weed eating and those type of things. We pick up trash, we repair playgrounds is another big thing. We have a certified playground safety inspector on our staff that once I became the boss, I kind of passed that along to somebody else because I did that for 15 years. So there's a whole dynamic with playground safety that people have no idea. Everything outside, I usually tell a new principal, anything outside you need done, call me. There's not much we don't do from the outside perspective of things.
Rusty, you do a lot of things in that department for sure. What's the most difficult?
Snow and ice. It's always the most stressful time for us as a department because you never know what the weather's going to do. We were supposed to have a 1/2 inch snow on a Friday night and it turned into 8 inches. And, we had basketball games going and it was too late to cancel anything. So, on a drop of a dime, I told my staff at lunchtime, I'm like, I think this is going to be bigger. Can you stay? And every one of them said yes. That's the type of team I have is, when I need you, are you going to be here? And they had
people, that's cool.
They had every right to say, no, I'm going, it's 3:30, I'm going home. But like when I make that phone call at 2 a.m. and say, I need you, they're here. And that's always the most stressful thing because we don't know when it's going to hit, how it's going to hit. Is it a salt event? Is it a plow event? School starts at 7 in the morning here. There's not going to be enough time. And then we have to prioritize a lot of stuff too because we have events going on. The pool people come in at 4:30 in the morning. Hey, that's our first thing. And, there's a lot of moving parts with snow and ice, and it's very, very stressful.
What time are you on the roads? I mean, what time are you waking up to determine, is this an event that is going to cause us to come in early?
So generally, it starts 24 hours before. We have a weather station that we pay for that a lot of municipalities use. So I know 3 or 4 days out, I'm planning 3 or 4 days out. Okay, we got a possibility for snow, and then I'm literally watching as it comes, and then we generally formulate a plan at lunchtime 24 hours before. And then if it changes, I have a text chain with the guys, hey, every snowstorm or every event's different. So we have I have 2 people generally I don't want to say on call because we don't have on call, but I have people that for that week, you guys have salt. If I think that they need to be in at 2 in the morning to salt before school, if we have some snow and ice, it's usually 2 in the morning prior to school starting. And then we want to have everything done by 5:30.
And I think you said to Ange and I, you have 12 teammates plus you makes 13.
Correct.
Are all 13 of you in different trucks plowing snow? Pushing snow?
Yeah, we all have different vehicles. We have 2 trucks with salt boxes on them, and then we have 3 3,500 dually trucks that are a little bigger that can move a little more snow. We utilize a front end loader with a 10-foot snow box. We utilize a bobcat with a 10-foot snow box. Anything I can throw at it, we use.
So I don't know, Jeff, if our audience knows this, but Rusty and his team have a TikTok station. Did you know that? They do. I haven't seen it real active this year, but
we are on all social media platforms,
Okay.
Twitter being the most, hashtag the grounds department. So we're proud of that. I have a social media department.
You do, and you have quite the following.
Yes.
You had about 1 million likes on a certain posting. Tell us about that story.
So every year we have to move pole vault pits, and the ones at Thomas Worthington for some reason are on pallets. And we had a skunk underneath one of the mats this year. And as we pulled it away, the skunk came out and everybody started running. And Ryan Dalcoma, who kind of knew the skunk was under there from past years, we kind of gotten used to him being under there, put it with some great music, and it blew up. It just blew up. And I'm like, this, out of all the things we've posted, this has got almost 1 million views.
Did anybody get sprayed?
Nobody got sprayed.
No, good.
No.
Okay.
He's TikTok famous. I mean, that's
TikTok
a
famous.
million. That's a million views. That's unreal.
950,000 people looked at it. Yeah, I haven't checked it since then.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, Mr. Ebley could not figure out why 950,000 people watched a video of a skunk.
So we've talked about what you guys do and the incredible work you're doing. What future projects are you looking out at?
We're generally involved in some of the capital improvement stuff, like fencing work, tracks. The turf fields were, we were kind of involved in going forward, making the buildings and the grounds more presentable. I mean, for years, we didn't take care of the weeds. That wasn't a focus. So, and we didn't up until 2 years ago, we didn't take care of the front beds of half of these buildings. It was PTA driven and parent group driven. The last couple of years, we're trying kind of get things now that we know what we need to do to get it that way slowly. I mean, it's not an overnight thing. So that's been the challenge. And I think going forward, we're going to continue to make these buildings look better.
Yeah, great.
Rusty, I get to serve on our PTAC, which is our Parent Teacher Advisory Council. And I can tell you that the moms and dads that are a part of that have been super thankful for the school signs.
We'll come back in and kind of plant grass seed around it and mow around it. And yeah.
But those have really helped too with the appearance of our buildings.
Yes.
Oh, I think the signs are great.
Awesome.
Yeah.
I like uniformity, and I know, and it drives my boss, Tim Gearing, don't.
Shout out, Tim.
Well, you say don't, because he's going to listen.
Don't have a stroke right now, Tim, please, because he threatened to come down and sit next to me. But I like to be uniformed in how I approach things. So, and I know, and it's a struggle for me personally to know not every building is the same. So, as I try to simplify things, there's other buildings that aren't so simple. We're trying to work towards that, but like those signs to make those signs because everybody had all different signs. Like to have everything uniformed would be wonderful. Tim would be wonderful.
How you doing up there, Tim? Tim's on the third floor. We're on the second. Are you doing all right? You shared a lot about just your journey through college and then starting with Worthington Schools, football, wrestling. Do you have somebody that has really influenced you and has made an impression on your life? And
I kind of got two, one pertaining to wrestling and one pertaining to football. John Crystal was my freshman wrestling coach. He is a Worthington graduate. He was a state champion for Worthington in wrestling. He kind of taught me the appreciation of the sport of wrestling, and that's something that's continued with me up through now. I mean, I've coached wrestling in every level from youth wrestling. I was Worthington Youth Booster Wrestling Commissioner for 4 or 5 years, all the way through. I've coached kids at the state tournament, and I still work for a nonprofit company called the Ohio Athletic Committee that puts on state wrestling events for 7th and 8th grade that I still run their Central District qualifier at Olentangy for. So yeah, he was a big influence in why I love the sport of wrestling. And then football has to be Terry Lichtenberg. He taught me a lot, but one of the things he taught me is if you're late, you better be in a hurry. So 2 great guys.
That's great. Thank you, Rusty. Grab a drink of water.
Sweating a little bit. I feel like I'm in the hot seat.
This is hot seat.
You can ask to pass. The answer will always be no. We will wait you out uncomfortably. What is your favorite ice cream flavor of all time?
Mint chocolate chip.
Mint chocolate chip is a good one. Here, the interesting thing about mint chocolate chip is once you commit to the mint flavor in your mouth, it really destroys the integrity of other flavors. Name a person who has inspired you during your time in Worthington.
Professionally or?
Any way you want to go with that one.
I mean, I can go back and name my history teacher, Jeff Palmer, Neil Walter, Bob Glasso, Frank Cozy. God, he was great. If you wanted to be inspired, he was the guy. He was my gym teacher. And then I remember my freshman year, we were all together at Kilbourne Middle School. That was the freshman school. And we had to walk down to gym class for square dancing. And I don't know why they put us with a group of seniors. Like, we square danced with a group of seniors. And I remember square dancing with this one girl, and she was pregnant at the time. And she took me right up to him, and she's like, "Hey, do I get extra credit? I'm dancing for 2." And she's holding my hand, and Mr. Cozy just started laughing. And he totally diffused the situation. I'll never forget it the rest of my life. Steve Gussler, we worked a lot with baseball fields. I drug baseball fields for a while, and he got me into coaching T-ball when my son was 6. So I had an opportunity to coach with him, and Terry Lichtenberg was the other. He wrote both of us in, and we were doing like triple headers when our kids were like 6 years old. There's just so many. Tim Gearing, Jeff Ebley, there's just a lot of people that I've been here a long time that just cool. Stick out. So
yeah, that's cool.
And I can see
it on your face.
I can sit here and tell stories.
What has been your favorite age so far?
I'd like to say if I could go back and be 25 again.
All right. What movie do you enjoy quoting the most?
Caddyshack. I don't think the heavy stuff's going to come down for quite some time.
It'd be very fitting in your role.
Yes, it is very fitting.
That's very fitting in your role.
And if anybody should ever stop by the grounds shop, we have a big banner when we did the parade at Worthington. We got the copy center to put on the side of the wagon, the grounds maintenance department, and we had the little Caddyshack groundhog on it.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Do you learn by watching or do you learn by doing?
Doing. I'm a big hands-on.
What is the one song you can sing from start to finish and not miss a word?
Big Eagles fan. 7 Bridges Road, probably Hotel California. A lot of Eagles songs. Yeah.
Rank order these fun date night activities: putt-putt, bowling, or going to see a movie.
Say movie, bowling, putt-putt.
Ooh, really? What would you have said?
Not a golfer.
Bowling, movie, putt-putt.
Wow, I would have gone putt-putt bowling movie.
I was in a bowling.
I'm a putt-putter.
I love putt-putt.
I
could literally go right now.
I love putt-putt. Talked into a bowling league before my kids were born, and we went to Sawmill Lanes, and I'd basically get the biggest, heaviest ball and throw it as hard as I could, and it'd always go. And so I'm not a big bowling guy either.
What is your favorite dessert of all time?
New York cheesecake, plain.
As a student in Worthington, how many detentions did you get?
I don't think I ever had a detention.
Oh, Rusty, come on.
No, I was never caught. No, I was always, pretty good academically. Football and wrestling took up a bunch of time.
Yeah.
So when I hurt my knee my senior year and didn't have football or wrestling, things kind of went downhill a little bit. And I apologize, Mrs. Joanna Alsop, for tanking your math class my senior year. She really tried, but it was just one of those things.
Yeah.
But no, I never did anything to get detention.
All right, this is the build up to the greatest question of all time. Speaking of the greatest, what is the greatest cereal of all time?
Cocoa Pebbles.
Oh,
Jeff, I don't think we've heard that one yet.
I've not heard Cocoa Pebbles. That is a good one.
Really, really appreciate you spending some time with us, talking with us, and certainly if our community is listening, to hear the work that you do day in and day out with the 12 other guys that you get to work with. And you talked a lot about them being there for you, and I want you to know that I don't think that happens by chance, right? That doesn't happen if they don't have trust and feel really good about the person that's leading them. So thanks for your leadership in Worthington Schools. Thanks for what you do, providing a safe environment for all of our students and our staff, and just being there, knowing that if we ask you and we need help with something, that you're there to make that happen.
We never say we never say no.
Yeah, I appreciate that.
Thanks for having me.
Good work.
Yep. Thank you, Rusty. Thanks for tuning in to today's Worth the Journey podcast. You can find us on Apple, Spotify, Google, our Worthington Schools website, or wherever you get your podcasts. A big thanks to Corey Carter and our communications team for making this podcast a reality. And of course, to our students at The Ohio State University in the communications department. The journey may not always be easy, but it'll definitely be worth it. Thanks for taking care of each other, and have a great day out there.